Hello and welcome to Straight Talk. I'm Ayşe Süberkaş. After nearly a decade, Turkey and Egypt are set to reappoint ambassadors. The agreement came during a phone call between Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan and his Egyptian counterpart, Abdel-Fattah el-Sisi, who had called to congratulate the Turkish leader on his election win. This latest diplomatic opening follows several months of high-level talks that work to put an end to nearly 10 years of hostility and mistrust. Relations between Ankara and Cairo plunged back in 2013 following the overthrow of Egypt's first democratically elected president, Mohammed Morsi. Egypt's support for the blockade of Qatar a few years later and its backing of warlord Khalifia Haftar in Libya also soured relations with Türkiye. But starting in 2021, a series of meetings were held to normalize ties. Last year, during the opening of the World Cup in Doha, President Erdogan briefly met Sisi, signaling a further thaw. The devastating February 6 earthquakes also helped propel normalization after Egypt became one of the first countries to send aid. And to further discuss the reappointment of envoys between Turkey and Egypt, joining me now from London is Wafik Mustafa. He is the chairman of the British Arab Network. And from Doha, Ali Bakir. He is an assistant professor at Qatar University and also a non-resident senior fellow at the Atlantic Council. Gentlemen, welcome to Straight Talk. It's good to have you on the program. So, Wafik, now that President Recep Tayyip Erdogan has won another term, what shape will relations between Turkey and Egypt take in the months and years ahead, do you think?
I'm sure the start of relationship again with Egypt and broadly the Arab world is very important for the stability of the Middle East. It's a new phase, particularly Middle East moving through huge changes, particularly turbulence. So I think it's a very important of engagement between Turkey and Egypt for the future of the Middle East, for the future of Egypt as well, because Turkey has been a cornerstone of the Middle East for almost 500-600 years. And this engagement, which happened about 1922, is restarting again with the new administration in Turkey with Recep Tayyip Erdogan. I think it's a very important point for the people of Egypt and people of Turkey at the same time.
So, Ali, what underlying challenges and differences do Cairo and Ankara still face when it comes to relations?
First, let me say that this is a very positive and constructive development, of course. I believe that we will witness an acceleration in the normalization process, focusing on the political, economic mainly, and then security issues. Of course, I think that bilateral relations will not face a lot of challenges. However, topics related to regional dynamics might constitute a challenge, especially in Eastern Mediterranean, Libya, and also elsewhere, maybe Syria, for example. However, I think that given the economic relations is going positively in the right direction, and currently Egypt is the top economic partner of Turkey in North Africa, and also Turkey is the top importer of Egypt's gas. I think that this will facilitate the normalization between the two countries, focusing on the interests and common interests between them. So I think that the challenges, while might be critical in some issues, the political relations will facilitate the dialogue and the common understanding on these challenges, especially in Libya and Eastern Mediterranean.
So, Wafik, you mentioned this normalization is not only good both for Turkey and Egypt, but also for the region. So how do you think regional countries view these efforts? Is everyone on board?
I think it's very important because Turkey, as we know now, over the last 20 years particularly, it became the safe haven for huge political groups, and re-engaging this group into Middle East in a proper way, and as well introducing democracy in the Middle East is very important. And the only country which can play this role is Turkey, because it's the only democracy in the Middle East. It's really the cornerstone of the Middle East. You must realize that the relationship between Egypt and Turkey go back to 850. It's the 8th or 9th century. So it's not something new. And they know Egypt very well. It's a big country. Turkey is a very big country too. Turkey is a very big power economically, militarily, and politically in the world. And Egypt needs to be engaged with Turkey very well. And I think it's very important to produce some positive uses for the people of Egypt,
Yes.
not just political sways, its economy, its mentoring for democracy, because Egypt needs Turkey to mentor it for moving forward, particularly after 10 years. 2034, there will be no oil in the Arab world.
Okay.
And Turkey is very important.
So, Ali, you said some regional problems remain to be resolved. What impact will normalized relations have on the Eastern Mediterranean and long-running disputes, for example, on energy reserves between the two countries?
Eastern Mediterranean currently is a priority for Turkey, at least, and also the energy aspect of the issue is a priority also for Egypt, given its position and its role in the gas field lately. So I think that these will be priority topics to be discussed between the two countries. I think that it will take some time. However, if discussions with Egypt on Eastern Mediterranean take into consideration the Turkey-Libya agreement signed before, then Egypt will have vast interest to come on board with this topic, given that it might gain a vast maritime area that some says it would equal to 25 times Cairo area. So I think that there is an interest for both to discuss this topic. Of course, if they manage to progress, they can also incorporate Greece in the discussions, and this will de-escalate the situation in Eastern Mediterranean and also open the doors for vast opportunities to benefits of all the countries in the region, which is basically Mr. Erdogan's primary idea in Eastern Mediterranean.
I'm going to ask you about the maritime agreements which Greece had signed with both Greek Cypriot sector as well as Greece. But Wafak, Turkey and Egypt, as you know, have backed the on opposing sides and in Libya and are competing for vast energy reserves, as we said. So how is that going to play out? And is Turkey likely to give up on its maritime deals with the Libyan government?
I don't think so. I think Turkey is winning because it's sheer power, because it's democracy, because the Erdogan government represents the country of Turkey, the people of Turkey. And really, it's not a matter of just because some agreement here or there. It's a broader picture, which is important for Egypt and for Turkey. The broader picture is stability of the Middle East, not because Libya. Turkey has stood its grounds in Libya, stood its grounds in Mediterranean, and I think it continue to do so. And I think General Sisi is realizing that they cannot manage doing politics without Turkey, without engagement with Turkey. And Turkey is taking the steps forward, which I think is very important for the stability of the Middle East. I think probably sometimes there is not equality between Egypt and Turkey in a lot of ways, with my respect, because it's a very powerful country, Turkey. It's a member of NATO. It's a huge economy. The economy of Istanbul is bigger than North Africa altogether.
Yes.
So it's very difficult to put the equal in such sense. The equality comes in the future of politics in the Middle East.
So you've just briefly mentioned having already lost over 11,000 kilometers of its continental shelf in an agreement with the Greek Cypriot administration in 2003. Egypt also gave up about 15,000 square kilometers from the agreement with Greece. So is this likely to change? Could Ankara and Cairo agree on a different arrangement? And if they could, how Cairo would strike a balance between the Greek sides?
I think that all these agreements were politically motivated from the Egyptian side. The Egyptians, including foreign ministry and also intelligence, knows that the delimitation agreement with Turkey would secure vast interest for Egypt. And that's why I think that from this perspective, both sides can agree on common perspective also to proceed forward in the delimitation agreement in the future. It will not be easy, of course, because such deals takes usually time. However, I think that given that both sides have economic interest and geopolitical interest in moving forward, I think that things will be much easier than some anticipate. And I think that all these agreements at certain point can be modified in a way that secure the interest of all countries involved in this topic, including Egypt, Turkey, Greece, Cyprus, and Libya, of course. So I don't see any obstacles if the relations between the two countries moved in the right direction. I think that this is a priority issue, and I think that also it will facilitate, I mean, better relations with Egypt will facilitate Turkey's entry in the future to the EastMed gas organization based in Cairo also, which is quite very important topic for Turkey.
So, Ali, despite a rupture in relations, Turkey's exports to Egypt hit all-time high in 2020. How do you explain this?
Actually, in 2021, bilateral volume of bilateral trade reached a record $8 billion almost. And I think that because Egypt knew very well that sustaining economic relations with Turkey is in its benefit also, both sides were aware that keeping the economic channel open will benefit them. Both now, for example, Egypt is benefiting from the surplus from the trade with Turkey, and in a very needy situation of hard currency, given that its friends are not willing to invest more in Egypt as they were doing before. And also Turkey is benefiting from Egypt gas, importing it. As I said before, Turkey is a top importer of Egypt gas, and this also secures hard currency for Egypt. So both sides know that the bilateral trade is very important, and there is also a space for growth. And I think that this will be the first topic also to be discussed following the high-level meetings and the expected also meeting between President Erdogan and President Sisi.
So, Wafik, I understand there are lots of opportunities for both sides in normalizing their relations, but what kind of confidence-building measures should be employed moving forward?
I think the confidence-building measure is that Egypt know that democracy is the only way, and Erdogan winning the elections with a slim majority means all Egyptians been watching the Turkish elections, and all Egyptians want to see Egypt as democratic, not ruled by military. And that's why I think Turkey is very important for Egypt in particular, particularly, as you know, the collapse of the currency, the collapse of the economy to some extent. I think Turkey can play a huge role in supporting Egypt, and a role model for Egypt, as has always been for the last 200 or 300 years. And I think the engagement of the government of Turkey with Egypt and the other way around is very important too. But I think without Turkey, it's not just a matter of economy. I think it's more the political situation in the Middle East is there, and in a big problem. We know there's a huge opposition living in Istanbul at the moment. We need to protect them. And I'm sure Turkey will honor that all the time because it's a great country. I think it's very important for everybody, the connection between Cairo and Istanbul.
All right, gentlemen, unfortunately, we'll have to leave it here. Thank you very much for joining me on Straight Talk.